to Flint Hills Briar. I am Gareth. Smoking my Missouri Meerschaum maple hardwood with some Sir Walter Raleigh in it. Coming to you from, well, not the Flint Hills of Kansas. Different place in Kansas. I am along the Elk River Trail. And it's a 15-mile one-way hiking trail down. It goes along the Elk River and the Elk City Reservoir. And the reservoir is kind of between, it's closer to Independence, Kansas. And yeah, wink wink. I think somebody who may watch this may get that wink. But this is, I guess, the 5th trip I think I've made down here. Last time I was out here, it was in November. It was like about a year ago. Just a little under a year ago. It was the weekend before Thanksgiving. I like coming out here in the fall. I just think it's a nice place to hike in the fall. But last year, I knew going a little bit later in November, it was a bit of a gamble, and that I might have nice weather and might have pretty cold weather, and that, it could even snow. If it snowed, I wouldn't have come out probably, but depending on how much it snowed, a little bit would have been okay. But yeah, last year it was on the colder side. The days got up to, I think they got a little bit above freezing, but I know the second night I was out, temps got down to like 13 or so. And I was a little bit cold in my 15-degree sleeping quilt. This year it's a bit warmer, but I mean, today it was mostly in the mid to upper 50s. Did hit like 60 or so, but it's cooled back down a bit. It's been really kind of like perfect hiking weather, I think. It's been cool, and it's been mostly cloudy to overcast pretty much all day. Got a little bit of sun here and there, but and I did pull out my sunglasses briefly, but yeah, it's just been really perfect hiking weather. Whereas last year it was a bit chilly. Didn't have to bring quite as much extra warm stuff this time around as I did last year. But I hiked from the West Trailhead over by Elk City, which I think that's kind of a funny name because the town is tiny. It's the furthest thing from a city that you can get. Independence is considerably bigger. But yeah, down here in Montgomery County, Kansas. And not in the Flint Hills. The Flint Hills do run pretty much all the way north and south through the state, mostly. A little bit too far to the east. And I think technically I'm in the Osage Casas, something. I can't pronounce the name. The western end of this county is in the Chautauqua Hills. I'm not sure what sets the Chautauqua Hills apart, but last night I believe I saw a porcupine. As I was driving in, just as I drove in last night, and I stopped over at the eastern trailhead just to make sure the water spigot was on before I went somewhere else to spend the night. Just off to the side of the road over by like the state parks office or whatever, there was this decent sized mammal in the ditch that headed for the trees right as I approached. And it had a short, kind of fairly stubby, kind of club shaped tail. My initial thought before I saw the tail was that it was a raccoon, but with that tail, porcupine's the only thing I know of that has a tail that shape. And up until a couple years ago, I didn't realize we had porcupines in Kansas. I'd only seen them up in the mountains, where there's more forested areas. I've been seeing tons of white-tailed deer out here. Last night I saw, several does on the side of the road. I saw a buck across the road as I was approaching that had a pretty handsome rack on him. Saw a bunch of does today, and I saw another buck that had a smaller rack. I do expect that there are deer hunters out. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all if I see at least one bow hunter tomorrow, especially where I camp, where I will camp tomorrow. It's just enjoying the quiet and the outdoors. And that fall season I always look forward to. This area it has a bit of a different character to the places further to the north that I camp in a lot of times up in the Flint Hills. There's a lot more, there's different oak trees here. I don't know if they're red oaks or, I was trying to call them pin oaks, at least some of them, but I don't think I was right in saying that. They have some chinkapin oak too. They have those up in the Flint Hills. Where I live, more in the north central part of the state, we don't have chinkapin oak. We don't have very many oaks at all, really. At least not chinkapin. But last year, when I was out here, I ran into another hiker who was out with his dog. And it turns out he's a farmer who he works for a guy that has a farm. But he's from Atchison, Kansas, which is up in the northeastern corner of the state, more or less. It's where Amelia Earhart was born. So there's also supposedly a number of haunted locations there, including the Sally House, if you've ever heard of that. But anyway, he was from Atchison. Just this farmer. He was, I don't know, probably in his 50s. He was, maybe 10 years older than I am. But he was talking about going on trips in like the Wind River Range in Wyoming, and it sounds like he's done some really awesome, really beautiful backpacking trips. It just goes to show you that I guess anybody could be a backpacker, really. I feel kind of bad saying this, but, I have nothing against farmers. I actually, in a way, I kind of come from a bit of an agricultural background myself to an extent. And usually you just wouldn't think of serious backpackers as being farmers, or as a farmer as somebody who may be a serious backpacker, but, there you go. Not really a stretch. Farmers are oftentimes hunters, and hunters really get out, and especially hunters that hunt in the mountains. They're kind of like hunters or hikers and backpackers almost by necessity a lot of times. But just wanted to check in. We'll have a fire later tonight. I guess maybe I'll shoot a few different shots and edit them together. It'll slow down the release of this video somewhat, as it always tends to if I edit anything. It just takes me a while to get around to it. But I'll show you around my camp a little bit, set it to some music or something like that. I'm trying one of these Bic lighters out. Somebody said something about them somewhere, and I don't know if that extended thing really helps anything with a pipe whatsoever. Anyway, yeah, I think last year I brought my Zippo out here, but I decided I don't really need Zippos to light my pipes, but I can get Bic lighters to work. A little bit lighter weight that way. My pack was pretty light, but my food always seems to weigh quite a bit. And I had to carry a bunch of water in with me. I hiked like 12 miles today, but no, 13 miles. And about 7.5 of that, I had to carry an extra about a gallon of water, which is like an extra 8-something pounds, I think. And that part of the hike was kind of crappy because my pack was that gallon of water heavier. It's just there aren't any water sources around here, really. I mean, there's a lake, but it's from this campsite where I'm at. I'm on top of a cliff band, so even getting to the water would be hard. And I would just rather carry my water than drink that lake water. You know, mountain streams are one thing. Kansas reservoir water is something entirely different. But anyway, I'll wrap this up now. I'll shoot some more little shots, and I'll talk to you later, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm Gareth with Flint Hills Briar. Thanks for watching.